In opposition, State Representative Kenny Cox, and would like to speak.
I guess Stevansky, he didn't mess this one up. Thank you, Mr. ProTip. This comes at the destruction of my district, and be straight up, that's how I see it, as the destruction. It's like you threw a landmine into my district and blew it into pieces, as represented by 5 different people. I know this something had to be done, but at this point, first of all, let me say this. Our district, my district, the census did not give us a good evaluation, especially of African Americans. I'm going to tell you why. Because in my district, 60 to 70% of the people were afraid. And when nobody going to come knocking on their doors. So, that hurt everybody in sense. Well, I heard also stated that, well, you're at 51 or 51%. How can you win that district? I own that district. My brother can win the district. That's not a question of when you win, it's the work you put in. When they formed the district, it was 53%, and 33% of the minorities were registered to vote. I put together a collective plan that put everybody together, and we registered folks to vote, and we registered people in the university. I do want to thank you for the work that you've done, and you kept the university together. Thank you for that. But you cracked my district, and you cracked it really bad. All of the minorities are broken up so that there will be only like in every one of the districts 27, 28%. You broke the heart of the people because now I brought them so they will have something to vote for. Now they will not have anything to vote. They may not even be represented. You put them in District 5. We see how that has been done. Someone told me, well, that's Seaball's district. Well, Seaball's not going to be there. There's a lot of Seaballs right behind it. Now, and I don't have a problem with saying that. We cracked this community into so many pieces. I got most of the mayors are African American. And then you take my district, where I grew up at, and then you take it and you put it in the completely in the district with in District 5. So that's, it's a very difficult thing for me. I didn't think that this would bother me. I didn't think, because I've been to war and I've had to do a lot of killing and a whole lot of other things. But this bothered me more. I have not been able to rest because we have a collective group, a historic district, where people have something to vote for. For the first time in over 300 and some years, they've had an African American who comes along and who's set the pace and who's done as much as he can with the situation that we've had. Our current district, in our current district, it's been divided. It's a district of history. That district has, actually, Maria Cornicorn was an African lady who formed the Cane River who made all the people that moved out into Natchitoches, Alexandria, Coshada, Red River, and she became a slave owner. But she didn't run a slave organization like everybody else. Nobody ran away. She developed a group of people that are known as the Cane. We call them the Cane River people, but there are plantations. There are tourists. This is on the National Register. But here we are again dealing with the destruction of a district that has finally given the people in my district the right to vote and give them a reason to vote. Let me tell you a story. When I was a kid, I was 6 years old. My great-great-grandmother took me to town. And there was a white gentleman walking down the street. He had on overalls. He chewed tobacco. He had some coming down his side. She pulled me off the sidewalk and said these words, "Do not look him in the eyes." And I did not understand it at the time. But it was a way of survival, because what happened is that if you looked wrong, they could ride on you. I lived in that environment. That's what I grew up in. And then I came home after fighting wars, fighting for everyone in here. I never asked what color you were when I fought. I never asked what party you were. We fought and killed indiscriminately for you. Of course, American Hero comes back. Well, I was at 9/11. They called me a hero. It ended my career. But this kind of hurts me in my heart that you would break my district up to this point where, and people look at me and ask me, well, why would you do this? Why? They think I did it. I said, no, I didn't do it. And we're still fighting for you. And we're still trying to set you a place. And they don't realize that when you divide our people up like that, and you now give me 20% here or 25% right there, there's no representation. They don't have any rights. So this is voter suppression. I'm telling you what it's going to be, because our people they don't have anything to stand up to go vote for. This is voter suppression at its greatest. And if handled correctly, you're pushing towards getting a super majority in the House of Representatives. And that's going to be a real tough seed to swallow. And I won't be here with you guys, but I've come through a lot of struggles here. My district come from an enslaved environment. Then we went into Jim Crow. And a lot of y'all, man, don't even know what Jim Crow is, man. But that was a horrible time for African American, me as a young kid growing up. But I wanted to go out and do something good for this country. I came back, and I became something that I never thought I would be. I didn't like legislators. I didn't know what you really did. But it caused a lot of problems, as far as I was concerned. Because when we want to make decisions in the military, we want to make it then, there, and get it done. Now, we've changed a lot of that. But for my district to be fragmented, cracked, and then your districts to be packed, and then minimize what my people have. So you've taken a historic district that took over 300 years, and you just threw a landmine in it. It's like killing a deer and skinning him out and throwing a piece to this guy and a piece to this guy and a piece to that guy. There's no representation there. I'm just a little country boy from Coshada, Louisiana, who now is in Seaball's district. And I say Seaball. I don't have anything against Seaball, but you know how Seaball is at times. The 23rd district was created for minorities, so they would be represented and have the opportunity to stand up. But this is pressing them down, suppressing the vote. I mean, you don't think it's suppressing the vote, but when the person doesn't have anything to vote for, he will not come out or she will not come out to vote. Louisiana, when you turn around, when this comes back after 10 years, when they register everybody, y'all are going to be shocked. Because there was a lot of African Americans that were not counted during this election, during this census. Wow. As a young man picking cotton and working for everybody that would give us a job, you never know what you're going to be. But we worked hard, and as my mother say, make them remember your name. And I didn't understand that. She said, you be the best that you can be at whatever you do. And when people say your name, they will say you fought for them, that you did what was right, you did what was just. And all I can do now is apologize to my people. Apologize with great disdain. I did not know that this would bother me like this. It hurts me to my core that I saw young men and women die for this country, and then I see, and I feel this is very, it's not just to me and my people. I'm only saying that we can only, Louisiana is sending a bad message out. I'm just telling you what it's going to turn out to be. And this is going to go to courts and do all of these different things. Look, I don't have anything against anybody here. And I love you all because you all, that's what God tells us to do, to love you, love everybody. Now, some of us are harder to love than others. I mean, let's be real about it. Y'all got people that's really hard to love yourselves. And being that way, I struggled here as to what is best to say. I don't want anything to mess with Louisiana. I love Louisiana. I come from Louisiana. I fought for Louisiana. But we're saying that we can just crack up some districts that took 300 years to put together, or over 300, about over 300 years. That we will. I want to say this. I did my best to serve this district, and my apology to my people that I've never gone into a battle where I felt my hands were tied behind my back and I was pushed in the river, and I don't swim very well. That's where I am. I'm swimming, but I'm just barely holding on. And I know us all going to get better before it's over with. But Lord, you guys got to understand that America is at one of its worst times in the history. And we're better together. But this really just sends my people out running for cover. And I hopefully I didn't say anything that would bother you or hurt you in any kind of way, but you got to remember that, when you're fighting on the battlefield, this is a battle. But y'all send me out here, I don't have any ammunition. I have the Presses and Jenkins who put stuff together, and I appreciate everybody's work. But I want to say this one last time, and then I'm going to vacate the mic, or if anybody got to ask me any questions, is that from slavery to Jim Crow to the right to vote, we're suppressing all of these things. We're suppressing the right to vote. I think this is really not constitutional, but I may be wrong. I'm not a lawyer, but I spent a few days down here. I ask that you when it comes time that you vote for this, that you consider and reconsider and say, hey, we can do a better job of putting this together. Why would we get rid of this historic district and give it to somebody who's, I don't know if they will even take care of them. And I don't want to talk about anybody. I did talk about Seaball. I'm sorry, Seaball, but you know. At the end of the day, we will all walk away from this and we will still be friends. But this is a very difficult, heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, difficult time. And there's others that have things that they want. And let me say this one more time. This census was not accurate. And you may be careful that you reap what you sow. Be careful, because, you know, when it's all said and done, God is in charge of everything. You know, and I say that because I've been in some places where all I could do was ask God to help me. I couldn't let my men know that because I had to be the rock. But when I went in my tent, I cried because I didn't want to. I felt like maybe I was going to lose some of them. So I tell them, you fight. You fight. And in this case, I ain't got no soldiers. It's just me. And I've been chosen as the sacrificial lamb, be quartered, divided, chewed on, and I actually feel spit on. This is a very difficult thing for me. So I ask that out of all the hard work you did, and I don't deny that you did talk to me, but you know, it really was basically your district is gone. And let's be real about it. That's kind of how I got it. But he did say, I don't have any other choices. So Stevansky, I don't hold anything personal. I won't, when next time we next to one, I'm not going to push you out. So you don't have to worry about that. I do have a little post-traumatic here, so so y'all catch me if I start pushing it, if I run over there to get it. No. But having said all of that, and I won't belay it anymore, just remember that this is the Cane River Heritage Area that you're taking and throwing it in the hands of people that they don't know who they are. And they won't know. They won't know who they call. Listen, you know you the representative. You know you represent the people when they call and ask you about their toilet, the place backing up. They call and ask me, and so I said, well, you know, that ain't my job, but I can tell you who you got to go to. That's when you know. Now, I get sick of that, but, I mean, I don't really get sick of it. I just usually kind of laugh and tell them the direction that they should go. That's how I worked in this district. People feel like they, and then there's a couple of folks that you say, don't call me no more. But it's the same question over and over and over. It hadn't changed. I thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to have the time to sit here and talk to you guys. It is a very difficult moment for me, and I'm not one to just kind of lay my things on the table. But this is heartbreaking, and this is how my people feel. Because they poured this into me, and I keep telling them it ain't over with yet. I tell my folks that all the time. I tell everybody when we was in, if the numbers were insurmountable, I tell my guys it ain't over with till the last bullet shot. And when I say fixed bayonet and charge, that's when it's over. I thank Duplessis and Jenkins and everyone else who worked. I think that. The one thing I will say to you guys, it's honorable to serve the people. But it's most honorable when you serve all the people. When I served in my district, I served black, white, Indian, and I even passed an Indian bill that wouldn't come through the House of Representatives, but I waited till the last 15 minutes, nobody paying attention. I put the resolution in, it passed, and now they'll try. Oh, yeah, I did that. I mean, y'all, you said it. Because nobody's paying attention the last 15, 20 minutes. They all packing up their stuff. I've been here for several years, and I knew that was the thing I had to do. I did it.
Representative, you do have a question. I don't know if you want to take it.
Yeah, I'll take any
Okay.
question. You know, I'm not.
Representative Lyons has a question.
Thank you, Mr. ProTip. It's not much of a question, more than just a comment. What you just displayed is the essence of what true representation is about, and feeling the pulse of the people you represent, and fighting till the end for the people you represent, in a cause that you may not be here, to defend them anymore, but you fighting through that. And my hat goes off to you, my heart goes out to you, because I feel that. And there's nothing to walk away from in this process to say that Representative Cox didn't leave on the line for them. And for your representation of the district and your fight, I commend you as a colleague, and proud to serve with you and share that with you. I want to take this moment publicly to thank you for that passion, for your drive and your concern and your love for your district. And with that, that's all, Mr. ProTip. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Lyons. Representative White.
Hi, thank you, Rep. Cox. We always like your salute at the end of our pledge.
Yeah.
And it really does resonate in us always. I read your biography. You are a hero, and I appreciate that. Your very presence here, and that you served this district so well. I have a great appreciation for that. My question to you is, when you sit down to discuss your area, and being a third termer, I'm not sure how that goes, because I know that everybody was looked at third termers. It'd be less hurtful, but it is hurtful anyway, regardless, because you know who you represent and they're special. Did you have the opportunity to say, what can we do, this and this and this, to look at the different precincts of how you could increase your numbers to keep your district whole? Were you able to work with the chairman and staff to do some of those things?
No, once they made a decision, no, we didn't. It was not. I did not talk to him in reference to most of that, because the decision, I think, was pretty much made. And once that decision was made, it pretty much took the wind out my sails. I'll be honest with you, because I would have never put my district where I grew up at, in somebody that's going to control them from North Louisiana. I mean, from Caddo. They will never. It don't work.
So within your region, did you have a regional meet with everyone to discuss how that it should fall
I think
out,
the decision,
and try to preserve it with amendments, or given that information to the
They
chairman?
told me that I can still do that. I mean, he did say that. And then what happens is that the decision was not really made until maybe Wednesday night, I think. Well, maybe it was made before that, but I didn't know that. But Wednesday night was the night that I went up and I went to see them, and we talked about what went down.
So the map was different when you looked at it prior to Wednesday night?
It was not
Your
different.
area was preserved at that time, and you say
No.
it changed?
No, it was not preserved. It wasn't. They hadn't drawn it yet. They hadn't drawn what was going to happen.
Okay.
And maybe the chairman can explain it to you better than what I can. The one bottom line was that somebody had to go.
Yes, the numbers tell us that.
Yeah, but
Right.
the problem was that the numbers in general was not. My numbers weren't the worst numbers. I only needed a couple thousand people to keep a district.
Okay. And
Yeah.
did you discuss that with
Yeah,
the
I said that,
staff
but
and-
that was not, they had discussed it, and if the decision, I think, was finally made. I wasn't called up there. I just was, somebody said, well, maybe you ought to go see him. So I went to see him. I waited outside. A guy asked me if I had an appointment. I said, no, I don't have an appointment, and I'm going in the room. And they went in, and he said, well, Representative Cox is out here. And he said, well, come on in. And they were working on some stuff. They finished it up. And then he said, hey, this is what we have. And
Well, so when you say you're one soldier, you actually have some soldiers up there around you that
Well,
that are
listen.
definitely going to fight for you.
Well, that's
and so
absolutely.
as a delegation, wouldn't y'all get together and work this out
Well,
before
we-
you bring it here and say on Wednesday you just saw that you were the one cut? Did you work with your delegation, which I feel you have some pretty good soldiers there,
I do.
minus
and
some,
and
I
they
won't mention names. But
well, they're not. We
But
did.
I mean, did you work with that delegation?
I did
to
call
really
them, and
try
we
to
did talk
preserve
about it,
that
but-
area for your people?
This is why I called. We had a meeting, and we have, all the people come online, the ministers and all those folks. But I didn't know that it was completely being taken out until Wednesday. I mean, just being straight about it. And we talked about it, and people want to come and they want to do protests and all this stuff. So the pluses has, and I a solution. Jenkins, representative, has a solution. And so I figured that maybe we would go, and I had to go with people who had this is something that's new to me. I've been here, all of us, I assume, because it's really new. So I was not, I was going along with what they had, and that was it. And my people thought, well, maybe we're going to stay together, and if we had to go be divided, they did talk about that. We did not talk about how it came out, though. The way it came out. I mean, we wanted, the one thing for sure was that Northwestern stayed under one legislator. And that is the only thing that really positive that came out of the whole thing, that we kept the university under one legislature.
Yes, sir. I understand that. Well, I just thought it was important for me to better understand how you, if this map just dropped on you and you didn't realize if your delegation met. I know in the North Shore delegation, we met, we discussed several times, to work amongst ourselves because our population grew. It was the opposite of you.
Yes, yeah, I understand.
So so everything was a little bit different, but I just feel like you have some soldiers there with you, and there's times for amendments and other bills and things like that. I would say continue to fight on to preserve your people, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for your comments, and it's been a pleasure working with you as well. I know this your
Thank you, Representative White. I do want to be clear, though. Representative Stevansky had a meeting with you, a one-on-one,
That's right.
and then he had a group meeting with you with your delegation, and then he sent you an email and said, I'm always available to you, we schedule an appointment.
Yeah.
And then the Wednesday night you're talking about is the third actual meeting
Right.
opportunity to discuss about the
Yes,
district.
right.
Just be clear.
No, I didn't say he didn't have any meetings with me. He had meetings, but we had not made a decision at those point in time.
Sure.
It happened on Wednesday night, and they was drawing the district up. I came up. I understand. It's like anything. I mean, I understand that it's going to happen to somebody. I don't like that I really don't like the way it happened, because in all reality, we should have had another district, another African-American district. And the numbers will tell you that. And it could have been done. But what we did, and I say we because I'm part of this legislature. I'll get a chance to vote on it. And we pushed my people into 25% over here, 26% over there. And to get back to one thing that the chairman said, well, we didn't, with a district like that with 50 50.01%, you'd be difficult to win. It was difficult to win in the first time around, but guess what? Nobody ever ran against me again because they spent so much money. And plus, I was not beatable. And I say that because that was the truth.
No, I think you're a valued member of the legislature. I mean, everybody loves you. I think it's nothing personal as far as that goes.
Well, now let me get that perfectly straight. I never said that it was anything personal.
I know you didn't.
I didn't say that. I know you said that, but I want to keep it clear. It was not personal in any stretch of the imagination. I just feel like we've been cracked and divided, and my people have no voice no more.
I just want you to know, from my perspective, you've been a great representative of your people.
Well, I appreciate that.
And that on record as well.
You know what I told you a long time ago when we first met, so I'll just leave it at that.
Representative Desitel does have a question for
sir.
you and comment.
Thank you, Mr.
We
Speaker
made
Pro
this
Tem.
guy right here.
Well,
the shadow made him. That's right.
You're actually stealing my thunder. First, I want to say thank you for your service for our country and service to our state and service to your district. When I first came here, you and I hit it off pretty quickly because we had something in common.
Right.
When I started my business, it was your people, your area that gave me that start. And, I was always proud to say that you are their representative because you've done a phenomenal job. And I always respected what you've done. So I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate you.
To say what you did, you set up a communications that later on became a big business for you. But that same communications they're putting together a technical training center that's the state of the art, using some of the same communications that you have, which I think that our state needs to turn to because we don't have trained workers. And I've tried for 10 years to get us to lower the ACT score for the top tech so that we can start training people in school and when we do some of this, I got some things done, but nobody wants to vote on that. We got the money there. We don't lower the score. We put those people in prison. But with your system that you gave, I mean, it's going to make that school produce some awesome mechanics, welders, electricians, plumbers, which we need.
Again,
thank you, sir. Thank you,
Mr. Speaker.
All right, that includes all the questions. Do you have any further comments?
All I want to say is I guess God wanted me to go through this. Maybe I'm somewhat saddened and humbled by this because in battles somebody has to lose. But to coin a phrase that somebody said, it ain't over till the fat lady sing. And I hope nobody finds any offense that I said that. This was something I read somewhere, so don't come after me trying to get me over something like that. So we've gotten so sensitive now. So I thank you guys once again for hearing me. I'm greatly disappointed, and I apologize to all of my constituents. Not that it's over with, but that I didn't come out with a clear, straightforward victory in the beginning. So I thank you, Mr. Pro Temp, and
thank you for your
the
questions
as well.